It was weird. Like there was a definite time when it was both, and then it became all Pioneer. Like people were rocking on Reigns for a while. The 52, what was it? 62 Reign, 57, 56, 57, right?
Yeah.
But that's
I think I still have both of mine.
the 56 is really cool because it has that power plug, which is like a phone jack.
I'm trying to remember.
I have it behind me.
It's been so long.
If you need to refresh. But
the 56, was that the small one or was that the big one?
yeah, it's a little narrow joint. It just has 2 channels, those little joints that you push up to make it play.
And then
vinyl.
they came out with the one with the small cue points, like the little. Which one was that?
That was 57. Had just
Yeah,
the little tiny, like barely, like they weren't even.
And it
buttons,
actually
right?
had USB
They were
ports.
tiny little buttons for cues.
They were terrible, and they always
They're
were
not pads.
They were always broke.
That was the club standard,
It was
right? For like a decade.
that's what
almost.
that's like what AM was using.
Exactly. That's what it was. And because Serato came through at a time when there wasn't any kind of like standardization in terms of the hardware, like
Right, because you used to have to use that box,
SL1,
originally, yeah.
SL1, 2, and 3.
which I still think I have that too.
But the 57 had it built in, right?
Should have sold that stuff
Mercari.
when there was a demand for it.
Do you know about Mercari?
No.
Mercari's dope. I've really I sold a lot of like camera gear on it, and it's great. Like it goes quick. The prices aren't like perfect, but the stuff sells super quick.
But there's like people going on there finding it.
There
like,
was, yeah.
Like buying stuff that they're.
When I sold a bunch of my camera gear, switched over during the pandemic. I switched from Canon to Sony, and anyway, DJ Midas.
What's up?
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Angelo Long.
Yeah. Everybody has something to say about my last name because the first name is so Italian.
It's like DJ Climax.
Well, so originally it was Longo and it was changed.
Yeah.
My grandfather Americanized it when they came to America.
Longo.
So.
It's dope. I like long. I mean, it's probably this. Does it mean the same thing? No.
I don't know.
What does longo mean? Not sure.
I don't know.
Where are you from?
That's
in
a good
Italy?
question. Different parts.
Did you go back?
I think I had ancestors in Sicily and Rome. So, I mean, I'm not.
Have you been out
sure.
there?
No, I never have.
Do you want to talk about how you got your start DJing?
Sure. So, where to begin? Basically, it all started with me and my one buddy. We decided we were going to ask for DJ in a box for Christmas. And like back in those days, like Vibe magazine and stuff would have like advertisements for like DJ in a box and stuff that you could like order. And I remember my dad going to get it because I was playing a basketball game and we were like near Harmerville and my dad went to pianos and stuff. And
yes, Blanox.
yeah,
I love that place. The used room downstairs.
yeah, I was like out that way doing a tournament. My dad's like, well, while he's in this tournament for basketball, I'm going to go pick it up.
Incredible.
Like, I found that out later because I was like, where did my dad go? Like, where he's been gone for a while.
What made you want to do it? Or what made you interested in this DJ in a box? You saw somebody else DJing? Were you at a,
it was
a quinceañera
so like
or like a bar mitzvah?
Leading up to that point, I was like heavily into breakdancing and stuff like that. Me and my best friend Zach, still my best friend today. Like his older brother was getting into it. That's actually how I kind of met Nugget.
Yeah. Was he one of your dance instructors? He told me he used to teach breakdancing.
No, he wasn't my instructor, but I definitely would go watch him and try and like, I could never be as good as Nugget, but
are there any videos? I've never seen him dance before. I really.
No, he definitely has.
Curious.
He definitely has videos because I actually gave him a VHS a few years ago that I found from back in the and he had a. They even came out with a video. Him and his buddies. I remember.
I'm just thinking about the white lady, like almost like meme where she's teaching hip hop dance with a big baggy clothes.
Funny story. I've actually worked with that lady. I not directly.
You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I do mixes for a dance company, and it just so happens her name's I think Deena Rizzo.
Amazing.
So she was like critiquing my mixes and like making me like, okay, at this point you need to change this, but it was like she was telling the girl that I was talking to tell me this.
Yep.
And then I found out later and I saw that video and I'm like, oh my God, that's the lady that like I was working with.
She is like the embodiment of white culture, right? Like white appropriative culture.
But I mean, she's like a very successful
Yeah.
choreographer.
Yeah.
It just that video just did not age well.
I think I used to do a lot of those dance mixes for Greek Sing, which is the dance competition for the fraternities and sororities at Pitt.
Oh, cool.
Where I would, I eventually became the default guy that would make the 15-minute mixes for the sororities. And that gave me kind of, I don't know, like goodwill with them. I don't think I ever charged, but that's a whole side business, right? There's people who are making these mixes for cheerleaders, dance competitions, really high energy, like quick mix every 30 seconds.
It's like a lot of stop and go. Like the first like few years I did it, it like took me a while to get used to it because I'm like blending songs together because that's, I'm DJing.
Right. But this is all.
They're like, you need to like stop, have like an explosion, and then go into the next song, like so they can reset.
Yeah.
Which I've learned.
Interesting.
I have that same bass.
Oh shit! The
Yamaha,
fretless?
the Yamaha.
Yeah, Yamaha fretless. Nobody has the fretless.
You know what? I don't think mine's fretless.
No. I want frets.
But it looks exactly like that because it's black.
I want the.
Sorry.
No. I want the jazz something, the jazz bass or whatever. The Fender jazz bass. With frets.
I don't think I could play it fretless.
No, it's really hard. I
mean, I can't play it with frets.
I was doing stand-up. I was playing stand-up in jazz band in Ann Arbor with Mike Grace, legendary jazz instructor. And because I had been playing acoustic bass and playing stand-up, I thought I wanted that sound of the fretless. And also I played violin. I have my violin back here too. So like
nice.
I can hear if I'm on pitch or not. It's a little harder with bass because it's so low and it's really like the pitches are weird at that low frequency. But, our hearing is actually not optimized for bass at all. I read somewhere recently that our hearing is optimal not at the frequencies that we speak at, but at the frequencies that birds sing at. Because when birds are present, that's a place where humans can settle, basically. So we follow birds historically throughout our evolution in order to identify habitable zones. Which is why it's so dope in that video game where you play the samurai called Ghosts of Yakushima, I think. Ghosts of somebody on PlayStation. Anytime there's a side quest, you hear a bird and you kind of follow it to wherever the next mission is.
Interesting.
So anyway, you were making the mixes, but you're making them all in Ableton or in a DAW, digital audio workstation?
It's so I either some of it I'll do live, and then most of it's in Ableton though. When it's all said and done, it's Ableton.
Yeah. It was cool. You used to be able to do a live mix in the bridge, and it would record all of the fader positions throughout the mix. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Ableton the bridge with Serato. Apparently, Serato Studio does something similar now.
Yeah, I remember messing with that before, but
it was really cool because you could even during your scratches, if your fader wasn't perfectly positioned, you could move the crossfader. You could create cuts. And you could reverse engineer it as well. So if you found something that sounded good in the bridge in Ableton with where your crossfader was, you could go to the mixer and figure out what you're doing wrong. Like, oh, I'm not bringing it all the way back every time. Like, during my crab scratches or whatever. So
right, I never really messed with it.
How do you break up your financials now? So are you full-time DJ? What percent comes from weddings, from clubs, from these?
Pretty much full-time. A lot of private events and weddings.
Through plenty.
Yeah. I was always full-time until COVID hit, and then that changed things.
Yeah.
So then I just was like doing odd stuff, and then slowly but surely it's getting back to normal,
You feel like things still aren't where they were?
No, I mean, I look at the South Side. It's like not nearly what it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a correlation of COVID or not, but
something changed,
I mean, obviously it's not the same crowd that we grew up with going down there.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, somebody recently, it was kind of dope. I think who came on and said this? Oh man. I think it was Steve Spin was like it was this really bad combination of smoking laws changing so that you couldn't smoke in the bars anymore, and then the cops being very aggressive about enforcing capacitance laws. So the capacitance ordinances kept like the fun young college kids from having a good time because you know you really you get capped off and then everybody has to leave or whatever. They'd call the
Right.
cops on you and send everybody out. And then the smoking got rid of the older crowd. And so it just shifted. And there was all this empty space and people had leases. They had to like get people
I
down there.
I
So
remember
they
like
did
10
it.
years ago that happening a lot
Yeah.
because they were like coming in and counting heads to make sure that you weren't over the fire code or you know.
Yeah, I mean, and in some ways, you kind of understand when you see the tragedies of like Oakland, California, these kind of terrible, fires where you're having these underground dance parties and everybody got burned up because it was like there was no exit, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
first, like Jimmy D's or I don't know, um, what's the barbecue place?
12.
Yeah, 12 Barbecue. Like these places have massive stairwells in and out, multiple front and back entrances. It's different. It's not like there's going to be a bed in the middle of the stairs and nobody's going to be able to escape if there's
Yeah,
a fire,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but in general, I feel like we have it kind of good here. There were cabaret laws in New York where people weren't allowed to dance at all unless you had a cabaret license.
Wow, that's crazy.
We never had to deal with any of that shit here. We do have 2 a.m. like things get clipped, but there's after hours places. There always have been. Not really for dancing, but like I don't know. I feel like Pittsburgh's like a
No, and
good place.
I see things happening in other parts of the city, whereas, but like the South Side with the crime and stuff, it's just made it. People are going to other places now.
Totally, Lawrenceville.
College
Like,
kids are going to Lawrenceville, Oakland, like where they would have normally went to the South Side. I feel so.
yeah, and apparently there was actually an email that went out. This was from Bobby from Climax. He was like, yeah, they sent an email to the college kids from the college that said, "Do not come. It is unsafe."
Yeah,
It was
I
like
remember hearing
Kamala
about
Harris,
that.
do
Yeah.
not come.
Yeah, right. I remember hearing about that.
It's like
It's crazy.
that's my livelihood. Where
So
were
you
the
have-
main places that you've played over the years,
So
other than Goldmark?
like
Obviously,
Elixir,
Fridays.
Elixir was a big one.
That's
That
the
was like
one.
my first place that I like had a residency Fridays and Saturday nights, and I did that for like 7-8 years.
Where was Elixir?
It's where the Flats is now, right in the South Side.
Oh, cool. Flats on Carson was
Yeah.
Elixir. I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
Nah, it was like the 10 years I wasn't here, probably.
Okay, yeah.
Right? I left in 2011. I came back in 2021.
I think they closed.
22.
They closed in 2012. I think. So it was a while ago.
Yeah. I mean, I was here. I don't know. But now mostly Goldmark Fridays.
Yeah, Goldmark. I do the Flats like one Friday, every last Friday a month.
Nice. Is it the same owners?
No, it's different owners. Saturdays I've been jumping around. Obviously, a lot of private events are on Saturdays. I've been playing Bonafide. It's a brewery. It's a small spot. It's pretty cool
Very cool. Where is that?
because it's like a very intimate small spot that I can play like throwback stuff, and it's right in the Strip.
Dope. I think the Strip is the other one that's been blowing up.
Yeah,
Such a popular place to live and work, and everybody just, wants to be closer. I think downtown's the next one, right? Eventually.
it's very possible.
We'll see. What do you feel like Pittsburgh gave you in terms of your musical background? Like other than the dancing, was there anything about the city that kind of gave your sound any kind of particular character?
I mean, with the breakdancing, I was going to a lot of hip hop shows in the city, and I would go to a lot of events where I would see different artists. Like I'm trying to think of who back then, but like
Strict
like I would,
Flow or
Strict Flow, like
Edan
Selecta would be DJing at a lot of these events.
yeah, Pittsburgh Slim and his crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's funny. But Yeah, so I mean, I was surrounded by the culture, I guess you could say, or I was going out in the city and finding it.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, me and my buddy, we had our own hip hop group, and
Which was you dancing
no,
or
no,
rapping or
no, but
DJing?
we would do shows where we would do everything. Like I would DJ, and then he would rap, and then we would break dance, and
Amazing. Yeah, it reminds me of People Under the Stairs. That was one of the first shows I saw like that, where everybody was doing everything, taking
Yeah.
turns,
but like
double K, and
yeah, there's some photos in there I think of that time period.
oh, amazing! Oh, I'm really excited to check those out.
Yeah. So, anyways, like we got off subject a little bit. I got the DJ in the box. My other buddy didn't. He was like, "Oh man, I didn't get it," and I'm like, "Well, I did." And
What was the DJ in a box?
it's 2 Gemini turntables and a Gemini mixer, which I still have today.
Wow.
They're belt drive, so they suck for DJing,
Yeah.
but they're great for listening to music.
Yeah. They still work.
Oh yeah.
You have them set up as a listening station?
I don't have them set up at
home,
the
or-
moment, but I've done that
Yeah.
so many times, which I've thought about using them for that again. But right now I have a Technique set up for listening. But
Yeah. I want like a 45s listening station. I had this vacation home I went and visited one time. I'm trying to remember where it was. It was a ski trip with my buddy. Cannot remember where we were. Somewhere out east, probably Vermont. And in the cabin where we were staying, there was just this listening station with 45s, big box of 45s, and everybody just took turns throwing them on. It was so much fun
that's cool.
jamming out. Yeah.
Actually, I have a my aunt gave me a jukebox that plays 45s. I haven't got it up and running yet because I've been like redoing my house and stuff, but I'm pretty excited to like go to Jerry's and do some digging.
Yeah.
And filling that thing with some good stuff.
A lot of fun.
There's stuff in it right now, but I'm gonna
You'll replace it.
I'm gonna swap out some stuff.
Like the country.
There was like a lot of Christmas stuff on there or in it.
There's a lot of great 80s 45s. It starts to like slip in the 90s, right? There's like some very early hip hop, but like around 94, 95, all the singles got pressed onto LPs, like got into 12 inches, which is fine. Like it's all good. Have you experimented with the way that you play, or it's been pretty much Serato, like 2 turntables, Serato since the beginning?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for a while there, I was just using CDs. I started with vinyl, and then obviously it was hard to get things on vinyl at the time. So, and it was expensive. So then I switched to using CDs. I say we because my best friend's brother, like he was involved heavily because he had the money to go get better equipment. Like he had the Technique 1200s. And so I didn't have to use the Gemini belt drives anymore the needle would jump off of.
Like what kept you coming back when you were, when you started DJing? Was it the money? Was it the energy on the dance floor? You felt like you had this aptitude, like it was a way that you could incorporate your dancing, so your love of music into something like a career?
It was just the love of the music and the art of DJing. Like I was like real big into watching like the Executioners and Scratch Pickles, and that was like what I wanted to learn is that stuff. But then I don't even do any of that anymore. It's like, oh, just you're just playing music for people to have fun, but you can add some flair to it,
Sure. And I think people want to know that you know how. It kind of like it gives you that leg up, so you can maybe at some point early in your set put like some cuts in or like a little breakdown where you just show them that you know how to scratch and then never do it again. Like only when you're bringing in a record, but like in a very tasteful way.
Or like scratch a record out. Like AM was obviously notorious for doing that. He would always do that stuff.
Yeah, almost too much. Nobody talks about that. Sometimes it was a little.
Well, back then you didn't have like an echo effect to get out of a song.
Right.
You almost had to do that back then because that mixer, no one could ever work the effects on that mixer.
The 57 you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the internal effects were like very, very, very weak.
They
and I
were
think
terrible.
Rain's gotten better with the internal effects, but like Pioneer has always had better internal. Of course, Rain's answer to that was to try to develop software effects that were equally good because they knew that their hardware was lacking probably. But hardware effects are definitely where it's at, and it's nice to be able to put them on the mic too, put a little echo on the mic.
Yeah.
There was this video circulating around, this Asian man talking about his rules for DJs. He had two rules. Number one, don't use the mic, and number two, don't play commercial music.
That's interesting. Wait, so who said this?
It was like a Asian man who runs a club in Japan or something. He's like, don't play commercial music. I want like play house music, like play underground shit, and don't talk. Like, I don't want to hear you. I want to hear the music.
I mean, yeah, I could see that working for certain venues, but that's not going to work everywhere. It depends on the venue. I feel like if you're going to play like that,
Yeah,
and the type of crowd you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, definitely nostalgia is very powerful. And so being able to work with people's emotions by calling back to these ideas that they've heard before and kind of can relate to. But what about like breaking new music? Do you feel like how do you feel the DJ, like what really is the DJ's role? Do we have a job to change people? Do we have a job to promote new music? Is there some kind of responsibility factor, since we're technically getting paid to demonstrate other people's work? We didn't do anything to make it, right? And then, we're just taking this money for, just stealing Taylor Swift's work and playing it publicly. Don't we have a responsibility to break new music maybe?
Well, make people have a good time. It's what I think our responsibility is. And if I can share some new music with you in the process, then that's great. And hopefully it works. But it doesn't always. Sometimes it's weird, like especially in Pittsburgh, I noticed like if I'll play something brand new, that week it doesn't work. And then like 2 weeks later it works. And I'm like, I tried to tell you people. I'm sure
Same crowd.
I'm sure you know what I mean. Like
absolutely. Yeah.
It's like
crowd.
You're almost better to let the track sit for a while and then play it.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you getting the music from?
Different record pools and stuff like that. I'm on like 5 of them. Like,
gets expensive.
Yeah, it's tax write-off.
You pay taxes?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I like to have a variety to shuffle through, like, and I'm like a music hoarder. I'm the worst
with MP3s.
Everything, vinyl, MP3s.
Really?
My laptop definitely needs cleaned out. I'll have like 10 versions of one song that I'd never play.
How do you organize them?
I mean, a lot of times, like I'll date, like I'll put dates with the newest stuff. Like, okay, this week I'll put the date, and then I'll be like, okay, I know this is all my new stuff, and like I have, like for the past 6 years, I have like all the dates. So I'm like, I haven't played anything from like 2021 in a while. Let's go back to these crates and see what something pops out to me.
Do you feel like the music, just like you were talking about, how it takes a couple weeks to kind of percolate into the kind of collective subconscious or something like that? Do you feel like there's this kind of dip? This is something I've noticed where once music becomes popular, let's use some examples, like
I think I know where you're going.
The Baby or something, like Levitating, right? It's in that uncanny valley between where it was popular and when it will become tight again to play it. Now, Starboy by Daft Punk, it's back into that, like, this is an amazing record that had its dip where it was kind of passé, and now it's time to pull it back again.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I would say Bruno Mars is that right now.
Whoa.
Pretty much every wedding I do.
Yeah. Those are the big records.
It's the do not playlist.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. So Bruno Mars is in that uncanny valley. Definitely. I totally agree.
It's like, so right now it's not cool to play them, but it's going to come back where
2-3 years
those
from now,
records will be cool again.
Totally. Do you think have you identified a length of time? Like, is it approximately 3 years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Like something like that, right?
Like another good example would be like LMFAO. Like you can play some of their stuff again now, but there was a time period where it was like, I'm not playing that. It's kind of getting corny.
Totally.
But now it's like, so how many years ago was that? I don't know.
10 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
But now it's like, it's a good throwback, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like songs get played so much that they get corny, and then they have a resurgence years later.
How does one, so if it's not a hard and fast rule, how do you know? So do you go to other DJs club nights? Do you just experiment on the dance floor? What?
A lot of experimenting. I wish I could go to more other DJs club nights, but I'm usually always working, so
Yeah.
it's not easy to do. But yeah, I mean, just pretty much experiment.
I wish there was more service industry culture here, where like Sunday, Monday.
I do too. Yeah.
Just Sunday, Monday, we could go somewhere and hear the best DJs in a room full of other DJs. Select a Nugget.
And playing stuff
Phonics.
we wouldn't play on a Saturday night would be awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Which, I mean, like Nugget tries to do stuff like that at the Goldmark, I feel like.
When was the last time Goldmark was open on a Sunday or Monday?
Well, not on Sunday or Monday, but he, like, during the week, I feel like he does do certain nights that are.
Yeah, cater to that other thing. He's been trying to get Wednesdays to pop as EDM for a long time.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I definitely appreciate that he's catering to different audiences, right? So he's diversifying the audience by diversifying the type of music that's offered. So it's not all hip hop. And so you get crews of people that are into house music and crews of people that are into EDM. I saw Buku playing like a techno set there last week or the week before. And so, and I know, they're doing the beat night tonight. And so.
And then like Selecta will play there. Like he does one Thursday a month, I think.
Is it Grand Groove? Or that was his radio show.
Yeah.
Groove Theory, maybe. I think that's somebody else's.
I forget the name of it, but which I'm sure he's playing stuff that like I don't always get to play, because he has his crowd that appreciates what he plays, and usually most DJs appreciate what he plays because he's kind of like a DJ's DJ,
I keep telling people he's the best DJ in Pittsburgh.
He's definitely a good DJ.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I think Nugget's the best club DJ and Select is the best DJ, but nobody wants to hear me. And the reason is multiple, right? He has incredibly deep crates. He has connections in the industry. So he has records that other people don't have, versions that other people don't have. He's completely committed to his craft. He doesn't do anything other than DJ. He eats, breathes, and sleeps hip hop. He's just like, that's him. It's like very authentic. It's the same reason that when you listen to a rapper, you can tell if it's authentic or not, if it's real.
And I commend him for he plays music that he loves. I don't always get to play music that I love. It's just like how it is. Like he like made a lane for himself, and especially with the streaming and stuff, that really took off for him.
How do you balance that? Like, how are you able to find the joy if you have to play records that you don't like or don't feel passionate about?
I mean, I have a pretty big palette. Like I like pop stuff. I don't mind it. I don't mind, like, if I got to play a Taylor Swift song, I'll play it. Like, it doesn't bother me. Just like every once in a while, it's like, man, I'd love to do like a 90s hip hop set or something. It's like, you miss playing some of that stuff that I'm like, none of that would work right now.
Yeah.
Depending on the night and where you're at.
You feel like music as a whole has gotten more up tempo?
Well, yeah, with like the Jersey club stuff, I would say so. But like hip hop has been
same 90 beats per minute.
It's even been slower than that, and I feel like it's been slow for so long. Like I want it to be in like the 90 to 100 beats per minute again.
Because the drugs are all sedatives.
Yeah,
they keep on opening seals. They keep on taking the lean.
There's just like no soul to it.
Pour up the whole damn seal. I'm gonna get lazy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even back like in the early 2000s, it started doing that too. Like
it's the Atlanta influence. I'm reading a book on it now.
Exactly. It's the South.
Yeah, I'm reading a book on it now. Really, really good one. That my sibling in LA gave me, and it's dope. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many rappers came from LA or from Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I was in LA when I was hanging out with her, and I got the book. But
That's where my best friend lives. He lives down there, so I get to go down there quite often to visit.
oh, dope.
Yeah.
What have you gotten
It's
to
cool.
go out to clubs at all? Or?
Yeah, it's a cool city. It's definitely different than up here. I don't think I'd want to live there.
How would you describe the nightlife?
Well, it's been a while since I went out there, but I mean, like we went to Tongue and Groove, which is a pretty popular.
Cool.
I remember Fashion was playing there before, and
He wasn't
there when I was
like
there,
a
but-
Vegas guy though, right? Vegas, LA, something like that.
more so, yeah.
or Arizona, I thought maybe.
But I feel like scam artists had like they were sending guys to Tongue and Groove for a while.
yeah. So
I
this
don't know.
this is worth talking about, like this kind of DJ roster, DJ like it's not a record label. It's a crew of DJs, right? That instead of calling you to book you for a club night, they can call Scam. They can email Scam, and then whoever that is assigns people. Like has a big calendar, has your calendar. We'll say, oh yeah, Midas is available for 5,000. You can get Nugget for Nugget for 6,000, or you know what I mean. Whatever it is, like they
Right.
can put you in based on, or they can offer a menu to the client
Right.
of different DJs, and that's probably what I guess Plenty is like too, right? In a way.
Yeah, very much so.
The benefit of being part of it is that you get access to more gigs, and it's less front end work for you because you don't have to worry about the booking side as much.
Right.
And the cost, the downside is they get a cut.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, I'm working with Nugget, and I've been working with Nugget for pretty much my whole career. So
You played the opening party at Goldmark, right?
yeah, I did. That was actually the start of my residency there, and I've been there for how many years now? Is it 8? I think they just had their 8th.
did 8th year. Yeah. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We were there. We were at the opening night. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I would do it with anyone else, but it's like the perfect scenario, and it's someone that I appreciate. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Were you part of any other wedding like companies or?
Like I've had my own, and me and Nugget have actually tried to do something a while back that we never went through with. And thankfully this worked out because we started before COVID, and then there was like a big pause on everything.
So wild they weren't
But
allowing
we tried to
weddings,
just
like-
keep pushing through it because we figured that people are going to start getting married again. They're going to start having parties again after this is over. So
Yes, that's so good to have that view, right? It's like, you didn't have to have that.
you figure people are going to be eager to do those things because they weren't able to do them for that long period of time. And so I remember like that first year after COVID, it was like the busiest year I've ever had because it was just like
Makeup weddings.
everybody moved all their stuff. Yeah, it was like crazy.
Yeah, and then everybody got COVID from those weddings, which was the funniest part. It's like,
Pretty
why did we
much.
do this?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like we literally just moved everything. Like we just deleted a year from our lives, basically.
Yeah,
It's like let's just black hole an entire year.
crazy.
Pretend it didn't exist. What were the little odd things that you were doing, like the side jobs and things?
Yeah, like I was
Hustles.
just helping people with like maintenance, and I did landscaping with my one buddy.
Wow.
I help him out every once in a while, and
Jesus.
not my favorite job.
Did you ever do anything before DJing? Before you could make it work financially?
I mean, I'm pretty much in high school is whenever I started making money at it, and I
Yeah.
haven't really turned back since.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember I played football in high school, but then I was DJing like 3-4 nights a week already, and I had to quit football because I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
It's amazing.
Now they weren't the greatest gigs because I was so young. It really helped that I had my best friend's older brother because he was 21 and he could get me into places and kind of like sign off as my guardian. So, I mean, I was like playing in places when I was not old enough to even be in there.
Yeah.
Like just local bars and clubs that were in my area, and it was some good times.
What were the lessons from then in terms of, mistakes that you made that you would counsel other people to avoid, like pitfalls to avoid for other up and comers?
Well, one thing I always say is we live in the city of bridges. Don't burn any. So, because Pittsburgh's such a small town that everyone talks and everyone knows everybody. And so I just try and stay on everyone's good side.
This brings us to we have to tell the story. We have to tell the story.
What story?
When DJ Midas hooked the young B-Tips, very young and impressionable B-Tips, up with a big wedding.
Oh,
big wedding gig.
I forgot all about that.
Yep. Well, I've told the story on here multiple times, but basically I got booked for like a Halloween wedding through you. And like I made two big mistakes. Like the first one, I mean, I made a number of mistakes. I really had only done probably 5 or 6 weddings before that. And I really didn't know what I was doing. Number one, like I never played like a wedding of all white people. And I really didn't have enough like country music and kind of like all these kind of more like classical records and like, you know, like the shit that they would have been acceptable with. And it was like way too much funk and R&B and pop music for them. So that was number one. Like I just didn't have the right records. Number two, I was still in this like I'm the talent kind of phase. And I've noticed this multiple times. I just noticed this recently. I was at a show, like an art battle in where the hell was I? Somewhere in the Cuts. Not Irwin.
That's like out my way. You're like in the cut.
I'm trying to remember where it was, but it was at like, I think it's Southside. Yeah. It was like Southside past. Anyway, so it was at like the Bulgarian, some kind of like hall. There was an art battle, and the DJ was set up on a stage, but there was a ton of space on the floor. And if they would have been set up on the floor, they could have interacted with people, handed out flyers, handed out stickers, taken requests, made friends, made contacts, etc. But because they're up on the stage, it's just like they're separate, and you're not going to really gain much from it. In general, I feel like stages are a big mistake. And that was one mistake I made. That was like my second big mistake that night, was that I set up on the stage and, you know, it just wasn't the right thing to do. I should have been on the floor. It was already a huge dance floor, massive dance floor. That was like not my fault. That was the setup of the event.
Oh, yeah.
Just like there was this huge, enormous dance floor with all these little tables set up around it. And so it just looked empty no matter what. There was nothing you could do about it.
I've been there on the certain venues.
And so like really what you should do is put the fucking tables on the dance floor. Really, like move them on. If the dance floor is that big and you don't have enough people to fill it, just move the tables in. So that's one piece of advice. The other thing for like house parties and stuff, sometimes people like I've thrown a bunch of house parties like over the years, whatever, and people are like, I can't get people to dance at my house party. Well, like, what should I do? And I'm like, where's the keg? They're like, it's in the kitchen. Well, move the keg onto the dance floor, right in front of where the DJ is rocking, right in the middle of the fucking living room.
Good advice.
Murder.
So yeah, I was gonna say, like, this one wedding I did, the bar is in a different room, so you're like fighting. It's like trying to pull teeth to get people out on the dance floor. They'll come out for one song and then they're going back to the bar, and then it's just like a constant rotation of people because
correct.
They want to be where the bar is.
Correct. The bar
it's such a fight.
Yeah. So the bar is at a wedding when it's a catered meal, not when it's a buffet style, but when it's not catered, but if they're bringing plates out to the table. I don't know what the name for that is.
Just sit down dinner.
The sit down dinner. Well, but buffet style is also sit down. I don't know. Whatever it is where they hand
like
you the plate.
on my timeline contract.
Plated dinner.
I think I just have sit down or buffet.
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
Fair enough. You've done a lot more than I have. But if it's that, the analogy or the approximation for what the kitchen is, which is really the center of the home, right? The kitchen is the hearth. That's where we were cooking the food when we were cavemen. So that's where the center of your home is. That's where people are going to gather. If you have a dinner party, people will all intuitively gather in the kitchen because that's where the warmth is.
Yeah.
Okay? You can try to pull them over to the living room if you have a fireplace, so like a really nice fireplace that's lit. Maybe you're going to have some success there, but not really. Okay. So they go to where the food is. They go to where the drinks are. The bar has to be on the dance floor. If the bar's not facing the dance floor, you're done. You're lost. And if there's no vision, if you are through a door to another room, you're done.
Oh yeah,
You're done. So yeah, that's a huge faux pas. So that was the second problem, was I was up on a stage. And then the third, the biggest, the like cardinal sin, nail in the coffin, was I went and did this Halloween fucking wedding, and I didn't have Thriller.
Oh. Oh boy.
The bride kept on coming up like, you're going to do it now, right? Like, it's time. Are we going to do Thriller? We want to do Thriller. I didn't have the record. There was no way for me to get it. It was like pre-Wi-Fi. There was just I was fucked. And yeah, she wasn't happy. And I'm sure I screwed you over that night, and I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize. You're good.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It's all good. Everyone, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah. But it was, I was there on your, it was like, this is my dude. He's a good DJ. And so I sullied your reputation, sir. And I apologize.
You're fine. It's all good.
I do not miss DJing weddings. I will say that. I played one recently in Charleston, which was really fun because I was basically not getting paid, and it was just to help my buddy out. But it's a lot of stress.
It is. And I've noticed that the best way to get rid of the stress is just do more of them. Like, the more of them you do, because you're like a well-oiled machine. Like, whenever I go like a few months and don't have one, and then I have to do one, I'm like, I get nervous. I'm like, I haven't used my speakers in a while. Are they still all right? Like, and you're like worried you're going to forget a chord or something. But when you're doing them every weekend, it's like clockwork. You just keep banging them out.
You get those nightmares where you're missing a cable, or where you're plugging in cables and they're not working, or you're in like a tangle of cables ever.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, who put these cords away at the last wedding? Meanwhile, it was me. Like, what a sloppy job this guy did. Because it's late. You want to just get the hell out of there and get home. It's a long ass day. It's usually, I mean, you could be at the venue at noon and not go home until you're not getting home until midnight. So you're just like, yeah, sometimes the cords just get thrown, and then you're like, I'll fix them later. And then you go to the next wedding and you're like, oh, there's a bird's nest here. It happens.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. I used to not like doing weddings, but now I'm just, like I said, I just do them more, and I'm used to it.
You think it's like 50-50 with club nights and like other sources of income, like the mixes and stuff?
I mean, there's definitely way more money in weddings, for sure. And just private events in general, compared to the nightclubs and bars. But the nightclubs and bars are where I can actually like be experimental, and because a wedding, I'm being paid to do your wedding, and you might give me like a list of songs that I have to like try and fit in throughout that night. So it's not like you're being controlled more, which can suck, but.
You can play a lot of them during dinner, though, right? Like, if they request songs that are not dance records.
It depends. It depends. Like, it's funny because sometimes like they'll give me songs and they're like, "We want this during the dance period," and I'm like, "This is a dinner song. This is not a dance song. Like, how am I supposed to work this song in during the dance?"
Let's go round two. Round 2 in the afternoon. Marginally cold. You know about Red Stripe? The Jamaican lager?
I haven't had one of these in years.
Reminds me of Nugget and all of his Caribbean vacations.
Yeah, I think he's on one right now.
It's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I had something I had to hit him up about. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I don't have Wi-Fi. Sorry." Good for him though.
Yeah, dude. If I could, I would. I don't. I get like 3 weeks of vacation a year, and that's like 15 days basically is what it is. So, it's not much.
So what have you been up to? What have you been?
Man, I'm a neurologist now.
Wow.
So I took a little.
Yeah,
bit
I remember you going to med school and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
To med school in South Florida. And yeah, man, it was amazing. I learned
Thank you.
Learned, the art of medicine. Took 4 years for med school.
I had to see a few of you guys getting concussions playing football.
Oh shit. Interesting. I wrote a paper about concussion recently.
Yeah, I had like 2 in one game, I think.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this whole second hit hypothesis. Do you know about that? Where that's the reason that they pull people, right? It's like now there's the eye in the sky where they can if anyone on the field is deemed to have symptoms.
I didn't
of
even
concussion,
know where I was at, and I played the whole game. Then we're on the bus, and I'm like, I had all the symptoms, and they're like, "Yeah, I think you got a concussion," because I didn't know.
Wow. Yeah, hopefully the education has improved.
Like yeah, because this is 20 years ago. Yeah. I think it's more on the radar today.
I think so. There's like the whole CTE dialogue, which is, I have my feelings about. There's like an interesting book which is called Brainwashed, which was actually, I think, a Pittsburgh guy who wrote it. But like, it's not as black and white as I used to think it was. So when I was working here, I used to work in neuropathology at Pitt, and I was working with the guys who came up with the CTE story, the people who studied the brain of.
Is that like the Will Smith movie? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Will Smith played Bennett Amalu, who was one of the neuropathologists there when I was working there, and then the character who's Bill in True Blood. I don't remember the actor's name, but he played my boss, whose name was Ron Hamilton.
Oh wow!
And that's how I learned neuroanatomy, which is the different parts of the brain. Is Ron Hamilton taught them to me. I would wash the cutting boards and get the little chunks of brains off, and
better you than me.
Then afterwards, he would, we would mount them on little formalin fixed slides and look at the different structures of the brain under the microscope. We would look at cancer under the microscope, and he would talk to me about palisading necrosis and all the different types of cells in the brain. It's not just neurons, that's the main brain cell, but there's also supporting cells called glia. There's astroglia and oligodendrocytes, and one looks like a fried egg under the microscope. And, it's like all these different layers of information when I was in college. And this is all like freshman year of college, sophomore year of college. And I kept going back, and it was every Monday at 8:00 in the morning. They had these brain cutting sessions, and they even had pediatric brain cutting, which was really sad, but also you'd learn a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I just kept going. I kept going for 6 years. Wow. Even after I graduated from Pitt, I had a job at UPMC doing research, and I kept going to the brain cutting sessions. But I was working with those guys, and they had that concussion story, which was, for them, it was like very straightforward that if you get hit in the head a number of times, that you end up with CTE, which is this syndrome, which is diagnosed neuropathologically, kind of like Alzheimer's, right? Like we don't have a clinical diagnosis for Alzheimer's. We have a neuropathological diagnosis. You have to see it under the microscope in order to diagnose it. Mm-hmm. And that's problematic. So if you can't diagnose it in a living person, it's not much of a disease.
How do you treat it?
Well, that's a whole nother level. That's like, now you're in outer space. Like we're basically like, on another continent from reality, because we don't have a diagnosis for living people. But now your point is very well taken, which is like, well, what's the treatment? Well, the treatment which has been prescribed or proscribed by the public in many cases is better helmets, which hasn't worked, right? So better helmets.
That was their answer for me. They gave me like the spaceship looking helmet, which is like the common helmet that they use today.
Yeah.
But I was the only one on the team that had that helmet.
Oh, wow.
But then I ended up quitting because I was
you were embarrassed because you had a spaceship helmet.
No, it was actually, everyone wanted it. It looked awesome.
Oh, cool. All right, good.
But between the concussions and I was DJing so much, I was like, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Division I school for this. Like,
what position were you?
I was a linebacker.
Nice.
And a receiver, because you usually have to play both sides.
Yeah, both sides of the ball. I remember that. Defensive end, tight end for me.
I played defensive end when I was younger, but then I got too small for that.
It was
defensive end was my favorite position.
It was a lot of fun, setting the edge, setting the boundary, and kind of, football was fun. The Who are the DJs that you looked up to when you were learning? Like, who were the people that you were able to
I mean,
get help from?
well, it definitely would have been Nugget. Like Nugget and Zimmy definitely helped me out a lot. Bonix, Selecta, and then obviously like I looked up to people like AM and trying to think who else. Jazzy Jeff, who I got to open for, which was awesome.
Whoa, was that S-Bar or?
That was at Scenario.
Oh, cool! Wow.
Yeah.
So that's so cool.
When he played there, yeah. I don't know if you were here at that time or not.
I wasn't there for that show, but I've definitely been to some nights at Scenario. I remember hanging out with Geiger at Scenario once before
Cool.
it closed. That was fun. Yeah. I saw him in LA at the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What a great Pittsburgh win. There's it's a lot of like great success stories out of this city. So it's an awesome place to be from. Do you feel like, proud to be a Pittsburgher? Is this like
Yeah, for sure.
the place you'll always live, you think?
I would imagine so, yes.
What do you think?
I feel like if I was going to move to a different city, I'd have did it already. Like I'm getting older and I just like I bought a house. I'm like, so I like have roots now.
Yeah. Do you have family?
I don't. I have a girlfriend, but
Make some babies, man. It's the best. It's the best part of life. Literally. There's literally no reason to wait. I know like everybody else will tell you like the planet is running out of space and we have too many babies. It's horse shit. The biggest threat facing humanity is actually underpopulation. It's a negative birth rate. It's the fact that people aren't having babies anymore. And eventually there will be a population crunch where we just don't have enough people on the planet.
Really?
To succeed. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a, evolving kind of idea, but it's very well supported by the data. And you can see in China, in basically every country that becomes modernized, like all of the first world countries, there's an inverse birth rate. So including the US, you have to have 2.1 births per family in order to, that's the replacement rate.
Wow.
So if you only have 2, you're not quite doing your job. You're close. You're almost there. But in order to just stay where you are, to not decrease, you have to have 2.1. And we're at like 1.5 or 1.6, something like that. China was like 1.3.
I thought COVID would make a bigger baby boom than it did.
That's interesting.
Because they were talking about that, and I'm like, there was a lot of things I thought were going to happen from COVID that didn't happen.
What else?
Because you're like, it's just such a weird time. Like,
what else do we have to do other than
well,
make babies, you mean?
So I thought crime would go up during COVID, but it actually went up after COVID.
Yeah.
When people probably weren't getting their government assistance anymore. I don't know. I don't know the reason, but
maybe. Yeah. Did you get some checks? I remember getting some checks in the mail. A Trump check. I remember getting a Trump check and a Biden check.
I did.
At least one of each.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird, right?
Yeah.
It was such a weird thing to just get a check in the mail from the government, like for nothing.
It's especially when you're like self-employed to get government assistance like that.
Very strange.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. It was very strange in Charleston when I was like a practicing physician, frontline doctor, seeing COVID patients in the hospital. I mean, I cashed the motherfucker. Trust me. Like I felt like I was like, yeah, like I need this.
Yeah,
right. but also at what cost? So what was the cost to our government's well-being? What was the cost to our financial status and situation in regard to the hyperinflation that we saw a couple months later? It's like, well, yeah, thanks for the $700 check, but now eggs are $7 a carton.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, did we really gain anything? Like,
no, I don't think so. But I think it was it's a political kind of maneuver.
Yeah.
Which is weird because both did it, right? Trump did it, Biden did it. It wasn't like it was only on one side. This is weird. Such a weird time to be alive.
Super weird. For sure.
I think it probably changed us a lot more than 9/11 changed us. There was something 9/11 changed us because it was like we're not secure anymore. This is we could get hit any minute, right? We could, the terrorists are coming. They haven't been back, which is weird, right? Like, that was the idea, right? Like, it's like any minute they could just fly another plane into a building and nobody's safe. And 9/11 part 2, 9/11 part 3, whatever. That was the legacy of 9/11, was this climate of fear, right? And the change in the laws where government overreach, big data, reading our text messages, reading Angela Merkel's text messages, whatever, like the mass collection of data, the mass surveillance, the surveillance state. That was the legacy of 9/11. Taking my shoes off at the airport, having to take my belt off, right? Like, not being comfortable traveling anymore, and mass surveillance, this like the legacy of 9/11. But the legacy of COVID is a whole nother level. This is way different.
It's just super weird.
This one is different. Like, they made us afraid of ourselves. They made us afraid of our friends. They made us afraid to gather, to get into an elevator with someone you don't know. Like, this is beyond. This is weird, right?
Yeah. Crazy.
And like, there was always this idea that our medical information was somehow protected, right? This like HIPAA protection of our medical information. You can't ask someone if they have HIV. You can't ask someone if they're pregnant, but you can ask them if they got a vaccine.
Yeah, right.
It's a little strange, in order to go to medical conferences, in order to fly on an airplane, in order to visit your loved one in a hospital, in order to DJ an event, I'm sure, right? Weren't there probably music festivals that you like couldn't go play at if you weren't vaccinated, right?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore though, do they?
I'm sure. I mean, well,
I feel like that's,
I don't know. I hope not. But maybe Europe or something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I guess maybe your point is very well taken, which is like, we didn't know. Like, we thought we had it figured out. We thought we thought that you were going to be protected by the thing. And so it was like, it made sense to make sure everybody was safe by checking and making sure everybody had the thing. What a time to be alive.
Right.
What a time. What's your family like? What was growing up like?
It's good. I have 2 older sisters. We would get into it a lot, but they're awesome. They both have families now with kids. So I'm an uncle.
Nice.
Yep.
Uncle Midas.
Yep. Uncle Midas.
Do you know about Midas? Do you know about the mythology?
Some of it, yeah. Everything he touched turned to gold.
Yeah.
Which is how that name came about, because of the DJ in a box turntables. Because I'd put mixtapes together, and I did this mix, and I was like scratching on it, and basically on that setup you had to use all fader because you couldn't really rub the record much. Because I had to put quarters on the needle to keep it from jumping. And I did this mix, and my one buddy was like, "Yeah, you're like King Midas," and it just stuck.
Oh, because you were able to turn the
'Cause
bullshit of these.
he was
crappy.
He was like, the fact that you can DJ on those, you're like King Midas, because they're.
Dope.
I don't know anyone that could DJ on these things.
Sick. So, of course, the story of King Midas at its surface level is the story of this great gift which was given, that this king wished for the greatest riches that were ever known, and was given his wish. He was granted his wish, was that everything he touched would turn to gold, of course. But just like when you watch the X-Men and you identify the difficulties encountered by the Rogue character, you can see immediately that it is not a blessing. It's a massive curse.
Right.
Because he's no longer able to touch another human being. He's no longer able to interact with another person in that way. Can't have sex with people. can't have romance.
All right, you're
Can't
making my name depressing now.
It's a curse.
I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
And also, I mean, there's all these different layers, like with Goldmark, right? It's like Midas at Goldmark.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny whenever Nugget told me the name of the bar.
Well, I'm Gold Sir.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I deserve a residency too.
That's very true.
I could take Thursdays, Tuesdays, service industry. I'd place. The best night for me, honestly, would be Tuesdays. I love having Wednesdays off this year. It's been huge for me. It's one of the reasons I was able to make the podcast work.
Right.
I wanted it. And I made it happen. I do a lot of work today. Like, don't get me wrong. I have the day off from seeing patients, but I'm able to catch up on all of my patient phone calls. I'm able to get all of my paperwork done for my new job, for research, like emails, everything. But I highly recommend people taking a day. I think it's crucial. A work day, not a day where you're home with your family. That doesn't help. But a work day to just catch up where you can be in your like office. How do you?
That's usually like what I do on like Thursdays.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have like a dedicated day where you're able to spend time by yourself organizing and
like a Monday or a Thursday usually?
Yeah. Do you find it hard though, without a 9 to 5, without a boss, to stay motivated, to stay like on task and not to just go into that Netflix and whatever world?
No, I mean, that definitely happens, but I mean, yeah, I tend to stay motivated. It's like I have to. And then, especially with the agency now there's other people counting on me and stuff. So.
Oh, do you do more than DJ for playing?
I basically just DJ, but like now I have, like, if I do something to make the brand look bad, I'm essentially affecting everyone else in the brand.
Like me at the Halloween wedding.
No. I mean, shit's gonna happen though. That's what computers crash. I mean,
but you have to have a backup. Do you take a backup computer?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Backup computer, backup power supply.
I had a computer issue once and it was just terrible. I was doing a wedding, brand new laptop. I'd been playing on it for months in clubs and bars. This was my first wedding of the year, and for whatever reason, during the ceremony, she's walking down the aisle and static just comes out all over the speakers, and there's nothing I could do about it. So I hurry up and get the other laptop going, and luckily I had everything like ready to go on that, and we were good because I had the other laptop, and I just like had to apologize. I'm sorry about that. That it was a malfunction. Shit happens.
Crazy.
But I narrowed it down to what the problem was. And so that laptop has the USB-C.
Yeah.
So all I did was, I'm like, it's weird that I'm getting a static noise whenever I'm doing these mobile gigs. Cause it happened like a couple of times. Like I didn't like, not to that extent, but I would test it out at other places and it would start doing it again. So I got the cable that has the ground wire. You can hook that extra cable up to the box for the power supply for a MacBook.
Okay.
Since I put that on and been using that, never had a problem since.
So it was a problem with internal grounding in the Mac itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm curious to know if other people have ever had that problem.
We'll see. We'll ask them in the comments. The craziest Mac thing I ever had was I had this external hard drive. I may still have it. The thing is insane. It could induce a kernel panic in any Macintosh computer it was plugged into. So if you plug it into, if you go into Best Buy and just take this external hard drive and plug it into a USB of any computer on the rack, it immediately crashes and is unrecoverable.
What?
It was a murder box, dude. Like, it would just kill anything. It was crazy. It was sick.
So weird.
Yeah, it was one of the weirder things that I've encountered. I had a lot of problems with Macs over the years, though. I've had
I just bought a brand new one.
Yeah.
It's a machine. It's terabyte.
Nice.
It's 18 gig, I think.
Yeah.
But so I'm used it on a gig.
Yeah.
When I'm searching through my music.
Wait, not 18 gig, 32 or 64. Maybe 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
64 gig RAM.
I'm not the best.
Terabyte hard drive.
With all that stuff.
I got you.
So I've been using it, and it's when I search for music, it's glitching, which it should not be glitching.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
In Serato?
I'm like, yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe the way I transferred my music or something.
In just like the search bar in Serato, it's having trouble?
It's like when I scroll, it's doing it. It's just like stuttering, like, but you can't hear anything.
Have you checked the settings in Serato? Like,
that's what I'm wondering.
Can you go to
I need to like
the
really,
RAM settings?
I like really need to dive in and try and figure out what's going on.
The one person who can like solve any and all problems with Macs and Serato is C-Flow, Coleman Howard. Dude is so sick, and he actually runs little workshops like once a year or so. I think it just happened, but I went last year during COVID, maybe like the year before. It was so sick. Like he goes through all the best computers actually to have for DJing, goes through all the right settings. Like he'll show you how to keep it from automatically updating. Cause like you can't have automatic updates on when you're a DJ.
No.
You update, you're done.
You try to never update. Because usually when you update, you have problems.
Every time. Yeah. You can't.
Yeah, I try and tell people that they don't get it. Unless like you're a DJ, you don't get it.
Totally. Yeah. My wife is always on me because I won't turn on the automatic updates on my cell phone. Because like as a DJ, it's just, you just know updates create problems. It's just like point blank every time. You can't get the newest operating system. The newest operating system isn't even compatible with Serato for like 6 months after it drops.
Right.
So yeah.
And my thing is like, why did if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Like
fair enough. That was like me still doing Scratch Live like 10 years in.
Yeah, I did. I was like that. I was like, I feel like I was one of the last to leave Scratch Live.
It was great. It was a great product. I didn't want to leave. Like they forced you, right? It was like ultimately they just like there was no compatibility. And
it eventually gets to a point where you don't have a choice. But by then, most of the kinks are worked out, so it's not as bad to do it.
Yeah. Serato DJ to me looked like a toy when I first touched it. It was kind of like when I tried to play on controller. Have you ever rocked controllers, or do you have one for weddings?
I have 2 controllers. I use a Rev 7.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Rev 7? Does it have real platters, like real turntables?
It's the Pioneer one with the real jog wheels.
2,000-3,000?
I think it was $2,000.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I bought like I bought one on Guitar Center, I think, and had it shipped. And as soon as it came to me, I was just like, fuck, this thing is all plastic. It was like DDX7 or something. It was like all plastic. Everything was plastic. I just couldn't handle it, man. Just like, I'm a turntable man. Can't do this. But then my back is like, you're not a turntable man anymore.
That's on my Pioneer. It's the SX2 or whatever. It's like one of the controllers with the small jog wheels.
Yeah.
But it has like 4-channel mixer.
Okay.
And like, I remember I was using that at Carson City when I would DJ there, because you had to go up like a flight of steps. And I'm like, I am not taking turntables up there. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just started taking that thing, and I got used to using it. And I'm like, I need to learn how to use it anyways. And I kind of looked forward to using it that night because it was something different. And it was like exciting to just use a different piece of equipment.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I'm turntables through and through, but if I can screw around on a new toy, like
such a good point, I think, and it makes you a better DJ to be more versatile.
I would think, yeah,
just to know how to use more shit. Like, do you ever play on sticks, like jump drives?
I've never done that. No,
that was the one thing I wanted to learn because I feel like that's everything now. Like, if you really want to be, especially in like the techno world, EDM world, that's all it is.
See, I don't know if I could do it. It'd be weird to me. I'm
playing techno.
No, I'm just so used to being able to search on my
It's
laptop.
a big change, but the getting away from the computer is so nice. Like when you do it, I did it for the Open Decks one time, maybe a couple months ago, and not having a computer is so cool. I did it for the wedding too, because my computer wasn't compatible with the gear I rented in Charleston. It was just like there was no alternative. It was literally the only thing I could do was just copy all my music over to a jump drive and plug it in. The computer would not cooperate.
How is it searching though? Like
it just shows you all your tracks. You just have to spin.
So I've been on the CDJ 1000s. I think that's what they are.
Yeah.
And they'll like list your in different settings, you can list. You can basically see your laptop.
You have to have
on there.
folders. You have to have
Yeah.
folders. That's the only way to do it, is to have like little tiny folders with maybe 20 songs each, little routines.
Right.
And then you go folder, boom, pull it in. I mean, I agree. Like for an open format DJ, suboptimal.
Yeah.
Especially what if you get a request? You're hosed.
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't. I don't know. And I've just done it one way for so long that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is cool, like to have, a stick with, your 500 songs on it or whatever, and then go out partying, go out clubbing, whatever. Somebody recognizes you, pulls you on stage, and you can just drop like 10 or 20.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think, like something something big that you've had to overcome, like some kind of like significant negativity that you've had to get past in your life?
Like I'm trying to think. Like a death or like.
I don't know. Everybody has something, right?
I remember I lost my nephew. He was only 6 months old when he died. He had a hole in his heart.
Fuck, man.
That was tough because it was tough, and it was especially tough to see my sister go through that. And I remember I got booked to do Redbull Thre3style, like around then.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, I can't do this right now. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is a really bad time, but I ended up doing it. I like forced myself to do it because I'm like, it's probably better that I just get back on the horse, So I did it, but I remember that was like really hard to get through, like to put something together in that headspace.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of the experience? Was it like your own emotions or comforting your sister, or like the loss of all of that kind of?
I mean, just the loss of all that, and like you're trying to get your mind to a party place, it's not easy.
Yeah, that's a big switch.
And like for Red Bull, you'd have to come up with ideas like wordplay or tone play or whatever. And this, like, it was like nothing was coming to me. Like I just wasn't there creative. I didn't have the creative space.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting through it, and I still ended up placing. So
nice.
Not too shabby.
You've been in a few DJ battles. I think you and I have probably been in one.
I think we were.
Yeah.
I think it was the first Red Bull battle.
Yeah.
I was in.
Yeah.
I've been in 3 of them.
Nice. Yeah. Was it that one, or do you think it was?
No, it was the second one
later.
I was in. I think it was later. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad that Red Bull pulled the funding for that. I think that was like a pretty cool thing that they were doing. And, I get it. Like financially, if it doesn't make sense, then they're just not going to do it anymore. But it's really hard to quantify the amount of return on investment for something like that. Anybody who is a DJ knows about Redbull Thre3style 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't say the same thing now. If you start DJing, you probably don't. It's slipped, it's left the zeitgeist. It's gone. And when it was there, it was Redbull Thre3style. It wasn't just Thre3style.
Yeah, was Jay Espinoza the last one is that the last year they had it?
Yeah, maybe. I know it was like a death of COVID or slightly before.
Yeah, right.
So it's hard
and
to know.
They cut back a lot too. They were doing like regionals everywhere, and then they like slimmed it down to just like just the United States regional.
Yeah.
Instead of like every city. But
yeah,
it's definitely good times.
The Music Academy was the other big one that I was trying to be a part of for many years. Did you ever apply?
I did.
Yeah.
Did not get in.
No, me neither. I applied 3 years, I think, in a row, maybe 3 or 4 years in a row. And
yeah, you have like it's like all that paperwork you have to fill out, and
it's like 15
I remember
pages.
like the one was like, if music was your universe, draw where you would be. Like I'm like, what?
Yeah, bro, it was intense. Yeah, you had like if you were DJing for your significant other's parents, what were the 5 records you'd put on B?
Are you asking me? Or
Sure.
Wait, repeat the question.
It was like your significant other's parents are coming over for dinner. What records are you going to put on? Or like what record would you put on? Something like that.
I wouldn't even, I don't know.
Maybe that's why you didn't get in.
Yeah, I think I don't know doesn't qualify as an answer to them. The questions were crazy though. It was
It
like
was out of hand. Yeah.
psychological questions.
What do you feel like is working lately at Goldmark? Like what kind of like peak hour kind of, what are the biggest records for you right now?
I mean, like the Jersey Club stuff is big. Goldmark, you never know.
Like
Every
the
night's
Nicki
different.
Minaj joint?
Yeah. Because I mean, I was playing that the junior senior song. I was already playing that anyways, so now I can play it and have it make sense with newer music.
Everybody, move your feet into the body.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I love that track.
It's a great turn. That boom, boom, boom.
But
boom,
again, it's like I hope her success of that song doesn't ruin the original.
I don't think it will. I think more people will find out about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can happen.
I can't believe you were playing that. I just feel like I hadn't heard that out in years.
I like to play some of the throwbacks.
Yeah. 80s, like 70s, 80s kind of electro type.
Yeah, like if I can sneak them in.
Do you know about Egyptian Lover?
Yeah.
I think Egyptian Lover needs to be played more.
I used to pop lock to that.
There you go. I saw him in Detroit Electronic Music
wow.
Festival. Yeah, amazing. Playing on just him in an 808.
Oh wow.
Crazy, dude. Like he still works it. Like he still knows how to program the beats on it and everything live. It's sick. Crazy. I saw Nucleus, that same show, like right before him maybe. Jam on it.
So like all
wiki,
that
wiki,
freestyle
wiki.
stuff.
Yep. Wiki, wiki. Well, to me, freestyle was like Miami. Was like Miami bass was freestyle. That was to me was like electro, like the before electro changed meanings, something like that. Like, but I wonder what if we asked Egyptian Lover what kind of music he made, what he would say.
Yeah, right. That'd be an interesting answer, I'm sure.
There's Dame Funk would be another one from like LA with like in that kind of same like heritage or lineage, and then
World Class Wrecking Crew.
Yeah,
they were sounded like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, like 808 and corny raps. What have the big wins been for you? Like kind of moments from your career that you've said like, yeah, this is a peak. Like this is something really worth celebrating. I've got here.
I mean, I loved being in all the Redbull Thre3styles, even though I didn't win. It was still a lot of fun. It was awesome. I would always place though.
That's huge. Placing the Thre3style.
PD beat me twice, and then Vonix beat me.
Yeah, I got beat by PDC.
I've
been giving him his flowers lately. I used to be real
second
salty.
and third.
You got second once?
I got second once and then third.
It's dope. Yeah. I've been giving him his flowers lately. I've come to terms with the fact that he's both a really good DJ and also a really good person.
Yeah.
And that just is what it is. I don't have to be jealous anymore.
He's killing it.
Go.
He's killing it. He's doing the Penguin games, and
I can let it go. I'm able to. It was, it was a lot of time wasted, but the hip hop is very competitive. And when somebody smokes you in a battle, like you can use that as fuel. And
right.
That's good. Like, I think that's really good. Same thing with rap battles. Like if you get beat, like you can turn that into motivation that can fuel a career. That's like Real Deal's career. He lost to Thesaurus in his first big battle.
I was in a rap battle once, and it did not fuel my career. It actually made me want to stop rapping. So it could have the opposite effect.
Do you remember any of the things they said?
They set me up with my best friend that he was actually good, and me and him had to battle each other. We were at this place called The Spot that Mo knows best.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a place he had.
Wow. In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, this is back when I was in high school. Yeah.
Holy shit. I got to get him on here. I really want to.
Oh, he would be interesting.
He has my Dilla book. He won't show his face, which is fine. Like I'll just have him wear like a mask or something maybe. But he still has my J Dilla book. I lent to him, so I'm going to have to place a call fairly soon. I don't know what the rule is for a book, lending a book. It depends on the size of the book, right? This one is like it's like a 2-month book. And we're at that point.
Yeah. Same thing with. I remember DVDs. I would.
A DVD is not a 2-month
I get
situation.
it. I get
A
it.
DVD is a 1 month at most.
Yeah.
It's like a Blockbuster situation. You're getting 1 week if you don't text me. But like there were no text messages during DVDs, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild that we don't have any. My son was playing the he calls it the robot game. It's called Astro. It's like one of the games that comes with the PlayStation 5. And he was asking what the technology was that goes in the old PlayStation because they have those discs. Because he's never seen a CD.
Yeah.
He's never seen a laser disc.
Wow.
Like we don't have DVDs. We don't have CDs in the house. You have one on your shirt. No, that's a record.
Yeah.
That's the Plenty shirt?
Yeah.
Nice. That's what's up. You can only wear it if you're a member. It's like the Yellowstone brand.
I don't know about that, but
You're saying I can get one?
I don't know. Hit up Nugget. I don't. He usually once a year he'll hook us up with some gear.
Instead of a bonus?
Yeah. This is our payment. I'm joking. Joking.
We love you, Nugs. How can people find out more and get involved if they're interested?
Hit me up on social media at DJ Midas on Instagram. Twitter. Do we still use Twitter?
Yeah. I'm heavy X
Really?
user.
See, I just have it
back.
linked. I have it linked to my other stuff. I rarely ever go on there.
It's amazing. It's the only way to get news.
Facebook.
Legacy media is dead.
Are we using Facebook still?
You can. I think a lot of people do. I'm not on there anymore, but I think a lot of people do. I think that kind of killed my DJ career was getting on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Because I had so many people from college, like my 5,000 Facebook friends. I mean, those people, 50% of them are still in Pittsburgh and would be coming to my shows or listening to my podcast. Maybe I should get back on Facebook for the podcast. Fuck. You know, I always say, like, I'm not on Facebook. I'm so cool. But then I'm on Instagram, which is literally the same thing. It's two sides of the same damn coin.
Yeah, and I just have like everything linked to my Instagram pretty much. So I can make one post and be done.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have within the actual Instagram app, right?
Yeah, so it'll go.
Yeah. We used to have apps for that.
It'll go
You
to my
remember that?
Twitter and to my Facebook fan page. It won't go to my personal fan page or personal Facebook page.
Instagram can post to Twitter
Yeah,
within the app?
I'm pretty sure.
Native?
Unless I thought it's been doing it and I haven't.
We'll check. We'll check after this. Amazing. All right. And they can hear some mixes
Yeah, I have Mixcloud.
at DJ Midas.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anything else you want to tell the people?
I think I'm good. I don't
That's
know.
it. All right.
All right.
This was fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
DJ Midas. Let's get a picture.
All right.